Today, let's talk about how to work with teeny tiny bookkeeping clients, those business owners that might only have a few transactions per month, so maybe they can't afford your bookkeeping services. I have 12 tips and thoughts about how to work with these kind of clients, because I found that as a bookkeeper starting out, you do run across a lot of business owners that kind of are interested in hiring you as a bookkeeper, but it might not be the right time for their business. So here's some things to think about. Number one, you can work for them quarterly or annually. The typical structure I use as a bookkeeper is that I do my clients' books monthly, and then I charge them a monthly rate. But no one says that is the way you have to do it. You can definitely just do it once per year if that's all the client really needs. Number two is how much to charge. So say you are doing their books only once a year, you'll definitely have to charge a rate that works both for your client and for you, right? I have found that usually small clients are more comfortable with just a flat rate pricing. So maybe you're like, pay me $300, I'm gonna do your books for the year. And maybe you know in your mind that is like 100 transactions. And then you can kind of calculate how long that's going to take you. Maybe it'll take you only 2 hours to do that whole year of books because it's so small. And so then you're making $150 an hour, and that's a pretty good hourly rate, obviously, right? Even if it takes you 5 hours, that's still a pretty good hourly rate. So even if this person thinks they really don't have a budget for a bookkeeper, see if you can find something that will work for them. Usually a business owner can squeeze out $300 for something as important as bookkeeping. All right, number three, what if they don't have QuickBooks? So if someone can't afford very much money for a bookkeeper, it might be likely that they don't want to pay the monthly QuickBooks fee. So in this case, you might need to do some research to figure out different options. I feel like QuickBooks Desktop might be a good option for this, because in that you can have unlimited clients and then the books just live on your own home computer. It's not, in the cloud. And I think QuickBooks Desktop is not as common as it used to be. It's not being supported as much by QuickBooks, but I do think you can still buy it and you can still utilize it, especially if you had a system that was for small clients who didn't want to purchase QBO. That's probably what I would do. Other options would be that you could use some sort of spreadsheet. You can definitely, categorize all these transactions and then just make totals for each section, and then they can just plug those in on their taxes. That is totally feasible. You could also just do some more research on either free or really cheap bookkeeping programs. I've heard of Wave is probably the one I've heard that's the most common. I've never used it, but I've heard that it is sufficient for small businesses. Number four thing to think about is there really truly is a need for this. I really believe that because I've talked to many business owners that are in this situation. So we can see as a bookkeeper from if you're thinking about your why or your mission statement, this could be a really good way for you to spend your time if you're passionate about this type of clientele. So it could feel good for you. You also bring some credibility to these businesses. Just the fact that they have a bookkeeper and they have someone, kind of helping with that aspect of their business, it can actually elevate their business. Going along with that is number five. This could be building relationships for the future. So maybe if that client does really well, maybe the first 2 years they are just considered a tiny client in your business, and then they grow and they're able to use you more, and then they're able to upgrade their bookkeeping services, and you already have a great relationship with them, you already know their business, so they hire you as a bookkeeper more hours, along with the fact that it could be good word of mouth. So they could, tell their friend, oh, Morgan's a great bookkeeper, you should hire her. And maybe that business is in a different stage and, requires more bookkeeping hours. Number six, this could be your niche. So it's really great to have a niche because it allows you to specialize more and really figure out systems for one type of clientele versus kind of reinventing the wheel for each client. So this helps you as a bookkeeper, one, for marketing, because you'll kind of figure out where are all those small business owners congregating. Maybe you can partner with another service provider who helps small business owners just getting off the ground, and that is a way for you to actually find those clients. Along with the fact that you're going to have really good systems in your business for communication that we're going to talk about later, for pricing. I just got some kind of email or advertisement, and it was talking about this product where it can feed all of your clients' transactions into a one screen for you. I can't remember if that was something new in QuickBooks or if it was a add-on, so then maybe you have 10 tiny clients and everything's just feeding in. And then if they have similar vendors, they all use Amazon, that is all office supplies. Then you can just categorize that in one big chunk, and that is going to save you time. So anytime you're niched down, you're specialized, you can really fine tune your own business systems. And that's one of the really fun things about having your own business, working for yourself as a bookkeeper, is you can make your business whatever you want. If you want 2 really big clients, you can, or if you want like 20 little clients, like you can do it however you want. You can take whoever you want as a client. So there's really a lot of freedom in that. Number 7 is divide duties as needed. So you might want to step outside the typical way that we do things as a bookkeeper. Maybe the owner or someone in their business is categorizing all their transactions, and you're just someone who comes through, checks everything, and reconciles the bank account. Maybe your bookkeeping niche is actually training business owners to do their own bookkeeping. And sometimes the bookkeeping community does look down on this because, we're like, oh, we're the only one that can do bookkeeping because, owners always mess up their own books. But maybe you're the person who trains them and then they don't mess up their own books. Maybe you're charging that flat rate just as an occasional bookkeeper. You're kind of like on retainer, if you will, for the person, and they can call you if they have a question. And maybe you're like, I'll give you 5 hours of any type of bookkeeping you want this whole year, and you can use it however you want. So it's kind of fun with these tiny clients to think about different ways you can just divide up the duties. Number 8 is consider communication with your client. So this is what I see as one of the biggest downsides to having a bunch of little clients versus, fewer larger clients. And I do have a video called Small, Medium, and Large Clients you can search for on my channel if you want to know kind of like the breakdown of like the dollar amounts and the transactions and stuff for each different size client. But this could have the potential to be more of a headache, like communicating with all these people often. So if my niche was working with these tiny clients, I would put some really clear boundaries in place. So maybe you do a 30-minute phone call quarterly. And if they try like emailing you or texting you in the meantime, maybe you're like, oh, I'll put that in the agenda for our quarterly call. Or if it continues, you can be like, if you want to upgrade your bookkeeping services, I would love to talk to you monthly. So as much as possible, I would be proactive about that communication and really think about how you want to structure it. Okay, so as communication could be a downside, number 9 is job security. This is definitely one of the biggest pluses to working with more clients. So if you only have 3 clients, maybe they're each paying you $1,000 a month. If one client goes away, then that is a third of your income that is just gone poof overnight. So conversely, if you have 10, 20, if you have 50 small clients, if one goes away, it barely even affects you. And so because of this, it really feels less like you have a boss that you're trying to please, but more like you're setting the rules, you're setting the standards, and your tiny clients can come on board if they want to, or if they don't want to, that's fine. You have, 20 other clients that are 1/20th of your total income. Going along with that is number 10, it is easier to standardize. So again, you're calling the shots, you're making the rules, they're there to follow your procedures, and it also might help you outsource your own tasks better. So if you have such a good system down and you have one really strong workflow, maybe you can hire another bookkeeper to do part of that, or maybe you can hire an assistant to do certain communication tasks. Because the opposite of that is, remember with those 3 big clients, you're kind of like reinventing the wheel a little bit for each client because most likely they have pretty different workflows for their individual businesses. Number 11, I said, is a fun culture. So I personally think it's really fun to work with like a startup company. Usually in that case, you're working really closely with the actual owner, and that person is probably someone with like big ideas and some energy. They really care about their business and they want to do whatever they can to make it succeed because it's kind of like their baby at that point. Things also tend to be a little like scrappier. So maybe you can wear a few more hats, maybe give them some advice about good ways to do things. You're not just kind of like a robot bookkeeper in this giant business that has already, has all these systems in place. Sometimes in bigger companies, there's more like red tape and like silly things you have to do that you don't agree with. So I do kind of like the fast-paced, like nimble culture of a smaller business. Number 12 thing to think about, it could take you more time to grow because just the fact that you are trying to find a more quantity of clients, you might need to, spread out your marketing wings a little bit, put out a lot of feelers. It might take a couple years for you to get the income that you're looking for. And I do have a class that teaches you all about marketing for bookkeepers, how to get those clients. It will be linked in my description box below. And even though it might take you more time to get that quantity of clients, hopefully it's pretty easy for them to say yes to you. If they're like $300, yeah, I'll do that, you're worth it. And then the thing that might not be on your radar is your company as a bookkeeper, your bookkeeping company is actually more valuable if you have more clients. Like say you're trying to build a company that you can eventually sell. If you just have those 3 clients, then there's more risk if someone is looking to buy your bookkeeping business. And you may be like, oh, I haven't even considered that fact, but it is something that might eventually come into play for you. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it. Check out my website, FinePoints.biz, and subscribe to this channel. All right, I will talk to you next week with another bookkeeper video.